day 1, and I have just received subject D, nicknamed Kaidan, which is a black Orchid Betta. I noticed instantly that he was very stressed. It was more than just normal shipping stress. There was something wrong with him. His fins wouldn't unclamp. And I started to notice some white spots on him that I recognized instantly as ick, but I didn't know enough at the time, so I did not start treating him instantly. I decided to put it off for a day and start doing more research before I ran off to my local fish store to buy medication. His packaging was very bad. He was sent to me in an envelope with no temperature control, no insulation in 103-degree weather, and he was not brought to my porch. He was left in my mailbox, which luckily I was home and I was keeping an eye on it all day, so he had only been in there for like maybe 20 minutes by the time that I got him, but he is very stressed. Day 2, and the ick had gotten a lot worse. As you can see, his fins aren't as clamped, so he's not as stressed, but he's definitely not feeling well. He just kind of stayed at the bottom, just floating there. As you can see the ick a lot more around his head. I apologize for the dirty glass, but there wasn't much I could do. At this point, I had done enough research that I was comfortable with a treatment plan, but I didn't want to start him so soon, so I gave him another day to just relax while I went and searched for supplies and medication. Day 3, and he is starting to become a little bit more lethargic, still somewhat active when I feed him though. At this point, I had done enough research that I was comfortable with a method of curing him, so I put in a heater and slowly began to turn the heater up. I had put in the order for the medication the day before on day 2 because they did not have in the local fish store the medication that I wanted to use, so I decided to wait an extra day. But instead I put the heater in his tank and slowly began to turn the heat up so that he and the plants could adjust without too much damage or too much stress because he was already struggling. Day 4, and it is I'm still waiting for the medication at this point. He's very sick, very lethargic. He barely ate and he was kind of stuck at the bottom. To be honest, I was extremely worried about him at this point, and I was really just tracking that package every couple of hours, anxious as hell. Day 5, and he has gotten his first treatment. I'm still very annoyed at the person who packaged him because as soon as I saw the ick, the first thing that went through my mind was, well, f you. So, as you can see, the water is tinted blue. He's starting to act a little bit more active, but I don't think it's because he is feeling better. I think it's because he's feeling stressed. As you can see, his fins are still rather clamped. Which is typically a sign of stress in bettas, but I was glad to see that he was a lot more active. Again, still very annoyed at the person who shipped him to me. They did not do a good job, although they charged me a lot of money for the shipping. So I was very angry about that and will not be buying from them again if this is the health that they are okay with when it comes to their fish. Later that day, he was still very lethargic and basically just floating at the bottom of the tank, only coming up for air. I kept a very close eye on him and monitored him and the water temperatures and parameters very closely to the point where it was damn near obsessive, because I'm weird like that and I have no friends. Day 7, he receives his second dosage. He is extremely lethargic at this point. As you can see, he's just laying there, breathing extremely heavily. The ick has started to clear up. As you can see, he is still covered in it, but he is starting to feel better. Again, to the person who shipped him to me, I mean, f you. It is very important to ship animals properly, or this is what happens. They can become sick and it becomes somebody else's problem. It's not uncommon for fish to become sick when they are shipped because shipping is very stressful for fish. There's a lot of parameter changes in water. There's a lot of being shaken around. But I feel that this particular situation could have been avoided if he just would have been shipped and packaged properly instead of being cheap and sending him to somebody in an envelope for $7. There's a reason that the majority of breeders ship fish for $20 shipping. This is why. day 10, and he's starting to feel a lot better. I was actually really happy to see this. He's still hanging out the bottom, but his fins aren't clamped anymore. He was a little bit more active on day 10, but still quite not feeling better. The ick had cleared up for the most part. That's not ick you see on the glass. That's just that I wasn't worried about cleaning his tank too much, but for future documentation, I will remember to make sure that the tank is as clean as I can get it, or at least the outside of the glass. But those, I think, are mostly microorganisms living on the inside of the glass, and a combination of that and snail babies, because I do have him in a planted tank with I believe they're bladder snails. But as you can see, his fins aren't as clamped and he is a lot more active, although he did spend the majority of the day on the bottom. Day 12, which was today, and all ick had cleared up at this point, and he was feeling a lot better. He was extremely active, he was eating a lot, he was exploring his tank, he was even interacting with me and flaring at me, mostly because I was probably the who turned his tank blue, but that's okay. I'm still happy to see that he's doing a lot better. This is a beta that I plan on breeding. As you can see, he has pretty nice form. He could be a little bit stronger, not exactly perfect, but I think he has decent form and good scale lining. Definitely I'm going to have to work on body form when it comes to breeding. I will probably end up having to cull heavily because he has a little bit too much of a slightly spoon head shape. I'm still learning a lot about beta form and whatnot, but from what I know, what I've read and what I've seen, is he doesn't have exactly bad form, but it is something that I'm gonna have to breed out of his line. But as you can see, he's a very happy fish, swimming all over the place and looking really cute.